Every story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
A very good evening to you and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Nena Nyama. On our major story this evening, the Federation Account Allocation Committee has shared 442.606 billion naira among the three tiers of government for August 2015. Also in this program, the Code of Conduct Tribunal has granted the Senate President Bukola Saraki bail on self-recognition. The Kwara State Police Command has arrested a middle-aged man accused of selling fake police recruitment forms. And outside Nigeria, European Union interior ministers have reached a deal to share 120,000 refugees across the EU bloc. Thanks for joining me tonight. The Federation Account Allocation Committee has shared 442.606 billion naira among the three tiers of government for August 2015. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Anastasia Nwokobia, announced this after the FAAC meeting in Abuja. She explained that the disbursement includes the month's net statutory revenue of 369.140 billion naira. The Permanent Secretary, however, noted that there was a shortfall of $8.65 million in revenue as a result of drop in crude oil price. Senate President Bukola Saraki today appeared at the Code of Conduct Tribunal after a protracted argument put up by his defense team. He also pleaded not guilty to all 13 charges leveled against him by the Code of Conduct Bureau. The lead counsel, Joseph Daudu, had tried to convince the tribunal that the Senate President cannot be docked since the case is not a criminal case and the tribunal had no jurisdiction to handle criminal cases. Though prosecution and defense disagreed on the relevant sections of the law warranting the trial, Tribunal Chairman Danladi Umaru ruled the relevant sections of the law support the trial and therefore ruled that no further objections will be entertained until Saraki enters the dock. Senator Saraki was accompanied to the tribunal by 47 senators and other top politicians from Kwara states.
After days of legal battle over his arraignment, Saraki finally appeared at the Code of Conduct Tribunal on Tuesday. He made his way into the courtroom at about 9:30 a.m. with a retinue of senators and supporters accompanying him. There was a brief power outage, which made many in the crowded courtroom uncomfortable. As the trial resumed, defense counsel Joseph Daudu objected to his clients being led to the accused box. But the tribunal chairman upheld the submission of the prosecution counsel, Rotimi Jacobs, that the accused must be docked.
We will not shut them down. Whatever it is, we will shut them down. We will not shut them down. We give them the opportunity to state their application, and they will now take it, and then at the same time proceed with the substance of the matter. So we will take it there. So in which all those issues can be conversed. Yes. We should take a reasonable time with which, as the defense of yes, of course, under Section 36 of the Constitution, time should be given to them.
Places, man.
Yes, yes. Having said that, and having made the plea to the accused person, yes, not guilty, and then having joint issues on the court party, so we will now.
Yes.
The argument canvassed by the prosecution that the tribunal has jurisdiction to try Saraki was equally upheld. Having been placed in a tight corner to defend his client, the defense counsel sought to apply for bail and time to prepare his defense. His application was granted by the tribunal chairman, who also fixed October 21 for hearing on the matter.
We will also need evidence as to property acquired while he was governor between 2003 to 2011. All the assets he acquired, and because he acquired those assets while he was governor, he never declared those assets. So, and we discovered and we got the title documents. They are also in full of evidence. The account he opened, how he moved money out of Nigeria to UK, to United Kingdom, and to London. We also need evidence to that.
Consistent with the presumption of innocence, and also consistent with the sensitive office he occupies, and the fact that I admit that it was based on my advice to test the law at the higher courts that he had not been here. He has told me that he's a law-abiding citizen. So based on those grounds, on the provisions of section 163, 164, and 165, and 36 of the Constitution, I'm applying that he release him back to me on bail on his own self-recognizance, as he will always be before the tribunal throughout the proceedings.
The prosecution also told the tribunal that it will call 5 witnesses to prove its case against the Senate President.
We also need evidence to that. My Lord, we just need 2-3 days.
Still on the Saraki's bill, the Code of Conduct Tribunal has granted the Senate President Bukola Saraki bail and self-recognition. Tribunal Chairman Danladi Umaru took the decision after Saraki was docked and pleaded not guilty to a 13-count charge of improper declaration of assets. Saraki's lawyer Joseph Daudu had made oral application for bail, and in response, the chairman noted that the tribunal will neither detain nor ask for a surety. Basil Okafo has more from the tribunal in this report presented from our studios. We hope to bring you that report in our subsequent bulletins. While the legal battle was unfolding inside a courtroom, hundreds of supporters of Senate President Bukola Saraki had taken up position within the premises of the tribunal. Some of them arrived as early as 6 a.m. on Tuesday in solidarity with the Senate President. Armed with placards and chanting slogans, they expressed their support for Saraki. Pius Samuel has more on this behind-the-scene drama at the tribunal. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arraigned a former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, his 2 sons, Aminu Sule Lamido and Mustafa Sule Lamido, Aminu Wada, Abubakar and Bartolomeu Darlington Agoho, at a federal high court in Abuja. They were docked before Justice Adeni Ademola on a 27-count amended charge bordering on corruption and money laundering. The other companies arraigned along with them were companies through which they allegedly perpetrated the fraud. The companies are Bimena Holdings Limited, Bimena Company Nigeria Limited, Bimena Aluminium Limited, and Speeds International Limited. Lamido and his co-accused had been arraigned before Justice Evelyn Anyadike at the Federal High Court, Kano State, on July 9, 2015, for allegedly misappropriating funds belonging to Jigawa State. Their case was later transferred to the Federal High Court, Abuja, where Justice Gabriel Kolawole, a vacation judge, granted the accused person's bail and adjourned the matter to September 22, 2015. At the resumed hearing today, EFCC counsel Chile Okoroma presented the court with the amended charge, which added Agoho, manager of Speeds International Limited, as one of the accused persons. The hearing, which commenced at about 9:11 a.m., was, however, adjourned briefly to allow the registry to assign a new charge number to the amended persons, since the case originally heard in Kano. On resumption, the charges were read to the accused persons. They all pleaded not guilty to the charges. Justice Adeniyi Ademola thereafter adjourned till October 21 and 22 for the trial. The federal government is to spend 70 million naira on a series of activities lined up for Nigeria's 55th independence anniversary celebration. Some of the events include a ceremonial change of guards at the presidential villa, which is to be preceded by a presidential address. Government officials have also lined up a children's party on October 3 with children from IDP camps as special guests.
This year's celebration is indeed low-key. This is because the present administration appreciates the economic hardship that Nigerians and indeed the nation is confronted with today. To address the situation, government has adopted a general policy to be very prudent in the management of our financial resources. This year's celebration is therefore in consonance with the cost-saving policy of this administration.
And now to Lagos State, Governor Akinwumi Ambode has appointed Olufolari Ogunsanwo as a new chairman of the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. Ogunsanwo's appointment was confirmed by the Lagos State House of Assembly today on the request of the governor. Ambode had earlier approved the appointment of new directors of the board. The new directors include Mrs. Akintola Bolaji, Maruf Oludare Tijani, Mrs. Ariola Kola Desi, Seyi Alade, Mrs. Afolayan Folashade, and Ayodele Adebayo, with Jimmy Aino 7 as board secretary. The new officers are expected to resume work immediately and work towards implementing the vision of the state government. Also, Governor Akinwumi Ambode has inaugurated the governing councils of the Lagos State University, Lagos State Polytechnic, Adeniran Ogunsanya College of Education, Michael Otedola College of Primary Education, and the Lagos State College of Health Technology, with a charge on them to work assiduously to reposition the institutions as formal citadels of learning. The governor at the inauguration ceremony held at the Banquet Hall, Lagos House, Alausa, said his administration believes that tertiary institutions are critical in achieving economic prosperity, prompted a careful selection of diverse professionals from the academia, public and private sectors with proven track records and sterling antecedents to manage the affairs of the state institutions. Among those inaugurated include Justice Judge Adeshola Oguntade, CFR, a retired judge of the Supreme Court as Chancellor of LASU, Professor Adebayo Nina Lowo, a professor of sociology at the University of Lagos as Pro-Chancellor and Chairman. Governing Council of LASU, Professor Tajuddin Badamosi, a professor of history at the University of Lagos as Chairman, Governing Council of LASPUTEC. Alhaja Sekinat Yusuf as Chairman, Governing Council of MOCPED. Professor Tunde Samuel as Chairman, Governing Council of AOCOED. And Mrs. Stili Giado as Chairman, College of Health Technology. Ambode urged the members of the council to see the appointment as a challenge and call to duty to bring back the lost glory of the tertiary institutions in the states. We'll take a break now, return with more stars. To stay with us.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly. Talk to your husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Also, some people will stand for Yoruba land, will be strong man. You don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Is it warocracy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, trading looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth.
Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute, I say to hell
on
with it.
Core Digest.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday, we bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody has a right in Nigeria.
Where you are the judge.
Glad to have you back on our top stories tonight. The Federation Account Allocation Committee has shared 442.606 billion naira among the 3 tiers of government for August 2015. Also in this program, the Code of Conduct Tribunal has granted the Senate President Bukola Saraki bail and self-recognition. And the Kwara State Police Command has arrested a middle-aged man accused of selling fake police recruitment forms. For more of our news stories, you can join us on our social media platforms, facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, news. We told you earlier on that while the legal battle was unfolding inside the courtroom of the Saraki's trial, hundreds of supporters of the Senate President had taken up position within the tribunal's premises. Some of them arrived as early as 6 a.m. in solidarity with the Senate President. Armed with placards and chanting slogans, they expressed their support for Saraki. Our correspondent, Pius Samuel, has more in this report.
This is the Code of Conduct Tribunal, where the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, is facing a 13-count charge of false declaration of assets. Security is watertight as people were meant to pass through more than 3 different security checks before gaining access to the court's premises. The crowd here is largely made up of supporters of the Senate President, and when he arrived after 2 days of absence, the solidarity songs were a notch higher. It is not normal in Nigeria for cameras to be in courtrooms when cases are being heard or judgments being delivered. But this is different as cameras of all shapes and sizes were in the room, all in a bid to have a candid shot of the Senate President in the dock.
The nation may celebrate criminality, but not us, but not us. So my Lord, your Lordship.
And after the Senate President was granted bail, the atmosphere within the court was electrified. Senator Saraki may have secured a temporary reprieve at the tribunal, but the legal battle is still a long way from over. This is because 2 other courts will in a matter of days hold proceedings on the legality of the charges against the Senate President. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Well, let's see how the events unfold in the number of days. Now to Kaduna State, the government is considering relocating people affected by the latest flooding incidents that wreaked havoc in at least 10 council areas of the state. Governor Nasir El-Rufai dropped the hint during a visit to the area. The governor was accompanied by the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, Sani Sidi, who lamented that about 64 council areas were affected in the northwest region. Amina Anebi has more in this report presented from our studios.
Thousands of residents have had to flee their homes as a result of the flood that submerged the area. The magnitude of disaster was quite glaring to government officials who visited the affected communities. Governor El Rufai had said it is necessary to give those affected top and immediate care. Governor Nasir El Rufai, his deputy Bala Bantex, and other top government officials, including the Director General National Emergency Management Agency, Sani Sidi, were in the visiting team. He said the state government as well as the federal government is considering relocating the people pending when a lasting solution is found.
But the immediate priority now is to assist those that have lost property and whose livelihoods have been affected. But when this is over, we have to look at our communities and ensure that we have proper drainage, and that those that build on floodplains are encouraged to relocate, because when you build...
The NEMA DG lamented that the early warning issued by the agency was not adhered to. He added that about 64 local government areas in the northwest region were affected by the flood this year. As the flood continues to affect more houses in Kaduna, residents are fleeing their house to seek refuge elsewhere. Areas affected include Banawa, Chudunwada, Kigo New Extension, Agunwa Romin. In the midst of the disaster, hoodlums have been carrying out their criminal activities in the affected areas.
In another development, Governor Nasir El Rufai has ordered commissioners in the state to brief the press weekly on the activities of the ministries. Commissioner of Youth, Sports and Culture, Daniel Danuta, disclosed this today when he received executive members of the state chapter of the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, SWAN. He explained that the marching order is to take effect from next week and noted that his own ministry is to brief the press every Thursday of the week. The essence of the briefing, according to the governor, is to avail the public through the media the opportunity to know how each of the ministry is faring. Taraba State Governor Darius Ishaku is soliciting the support of the media for lasting peace in the state. He also wants journalists to be objective in reporting events bordering on security. The governor said this while hosting members of the local chapter of the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Jalingo. Udrak Gadwin now reports. Cross River State Government says nominees for appointment as commissioners in the state will be subjected to intense scrutiny. In a statement, the Special Assistant to the Governor on Media, Christian Ita, said the nominees will undergo a mandatory aptitude test before confirmation is granted. The statement also disclosed that the test will also be taken by chairmen, members of both agencies and parastatals, and special advisors. Governor Ben Ayade disclosed that this initiative is certain if they can function in the new order where transparency and accountability are the watchwords. The Kwara State Police Command has arrested a middle-aged man accused of selling fake police recruitment forms. The suspect was said to print false forms to unsuspecting public as a prerequisite for recruitment to the Nigerian police force. Our correspondent, Rashid has more in the story.
President Muhammadu Buhari announced intention to recruit 10,000 police officers into the Nigerian police force. Job-seeking Nigerians have so far been swindled with fake forms, while original form is yet to be rolled out by the appropriate authority. The new Kwara police chief, Esausa Amadesu, in an apparent resolve to curb criminality, parades a 30-year-old cyber cafe operator in Ilorin, alleged of printing fake recruitment police form to the public. The Commissioner of Police urged members of the public not to fall prey to fake recruitment syndicate, adding that the police will inform the people when ready to recruit the 10,000 personnel as directed by President Buhari.
Men of surveillance were moving around. We have won. If you want, I know that graciously the head of state has granted that police will be allowed to recruit about 10,000 numbered personnel this year. But the modalities have not been worked out. Therefore, officially, we have not been asked to start recruitment. But I don't know what went into the mind of this young man by name Ade Jimon. He runs a cyber cafe at 39 Moritola Mohammed Way. I would have loved to display his signboard here now. Both the Nigerian police forms were out for sale, and unsuspecting members of the public were busy purchasing. And when my men invaded the premises, forms like this were recovered, probably downloaded by way of amendment from the internet to make it look real.
The arrested suspect, however, denies selling of forms.
We have not sold anyone.
What about those ones you printed out?
It was printed 2 months ago. That was somewhere in July when it was announced that, the rumors was out that the form was out. But later, when it eventually said it's not out, we have not updated the signboard. That was why. And when they came, as in Mufti I did, they want to buy form. I told them the form is not out. I don't even know they were police. So they said, but they saw it downstairs. I said it was a mistake. We have not rubbed it up. And they said that I was telling them they have not allowed us to be selling the form. That we already wrote it there before 2 months ago, so that when the form eventually out, people will know that we would need to sell the form too. Before they discover they were actually police. We don't know. Neither do sell form for them.
While the police clamp down on suspected syndicates, Nigerians, however, await the recruitment process into the Nigerian police. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
Taraba State Governor Darius Ishaku is soliciting the support of the media for lasting peace in the state. He also warned journalists to be objective in reporting events bordering on security. The governor said this while hosting members of the local chapter of the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Jalingo. Udwa Gadwin now reports.
It was an evening media practitioners had an opportunity to exchange banters with Governor Ishaku. But he also used the occasion to charge journalists to live up to their civic responsibility. The governor, however, assured the newsmen of a conducive and peaceful environment for them to carry out their duties if only they will act as agents of peace.
What I mean by doing your job in the professional manner. If you do your job in a professional manner, honestly speaking, I bet you will have an honor that will surpass what you ever imagine or think about. I've known a lot of journalists who have retired, but up to today, they're still being held in high esteem. This evening, we're sitting as friends, and so I'm feeling comfortable to talk with you. I'll criticize you, but I'm telling you the truth. And I don't mind if you criticize me constructively. If you have a fact and your facts are good, you can't criticize me. Or if you think I take a decision that is not on course, you can constructively criticize. That is the reason why you are there anyway.
It also afforded the governor an opportunity to promise to receive the state-owned newspaper, the Nigerian Sunrise. The chairman of the state chapter of the NUJ gave his words on the commitment of journalists in the state.
I want to assure you that once in a while, we will do some bitings. That does not show that we are not supporting your administration. But Your Excellency, these bitings are in the form of criticism. I've been able to know that Your Excellency, you are open to criticism. Therefore, I want to say this evening that whenever you read or you watch television, anything that is centered on investigative journalism, Your Excellency, do not say the journalists in Taraba State do not want you.
For his part, Chief Press Secretary described the meeting as a wake-up call for all journalists to ensure that their work reflects positively on their immediate society.
And I also want to advise my colleagues too, as a journalist, you are supposed to be practicing your profession at all times. And I want to urge you that on the social media, sometimes we do have a problem. People are falsifying things and saying them in the wrong way. I want those of us who have accounts on the social media to be using that medium to help us correct most of those things.
The meeting, which was targeted at ensuring that media is transparent in their reportage, is the face conveyed by the Darius administration. Udwa Godwin, CoreTV News.
We'll take another break now, return with more stories on business, foreign and sports. To stay with us.
Some pundits believe that as long as the political system is driven by selected few, corruption may be difficult to fight.
You should be careful about what you say.
I am not the only politician. Even if I've wronged anyone, it's time to forgive me.
Political Arena every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. and a repeat broadcast every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back in business. The Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, has unveiled 4 new logos in defense of quality. These new logos are expected to add value to the work of creating confidence for consumers, exporters, importers, marketers, and manufacturers. Our correspondent has details of the story. The war against fake, adulterated, and substandard products in the Nigerian markets has been described to be getting complex with standard regulatory bodies to handle. It is to this end the Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, stepped up with its new initiative of introducing 4 new logos of quality to end the menace. SON's quality instrumental logo, which includes Mandatory Conformity Assessment Program, MANCAP, SON Conformity Assessment Program, SONCAP, Nigeria Industrial Standard Mark of Quality, and Nigeria Quality Award, are all designed to free the market of harmful products. The Director General of SON, Joseph Odumodu, says the logo will be implemented in about 6 months. He added that all existing certificates and products without the new logo will be withdrawn from the markets.
If you want to buy a product or deal on a product, if you do not see any of these new logos, you don't have to touch that product. We decided that it would be appropriate to give a period of 6 months to all the people who are meant to apply these logos on their products. Within that 6 months, we need to change from what it is now to what it should be. We expect that that period should be enough time for people who hold inventory to have exhausted their inventory.
Responding to the DG's remark, President of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Frank Jacobs, pleaded with the DG on behalf of other manufacturers to extend the 6-month deadline to give appropriate room for members of his body to meet up with the new standards.
I do want to appeal to some that the 6 months required for manufacturers to comply to the new market is too short. It's too short because there could be products that are already in the market whose shelf lives are over 2 years. So, if you go to the market and see those products, you may not remember the time the product was made. You simply say, this product didn't mean this. Doesn't carry the Newman cap. Automatically, that product is substandard and fake. It will be a problem for our manufacturers. So we'd like some to reconsider and come up with, maybe discuss with man. Let us put heads together and come up with time frame that should be adequate, that should be good for some and good for manufacturers.
While the regulatory body does all it can to set the right standards in place, Nigerians are hopeful that the new strategies put in place by SON will bring manufacturers to check and help flush out substandard and counterfeit consumer goods from the markets. As Muslims all over the world prepare to celebrate Eid al-Kabir, the festival of Rams, the high cost of Rams has become a major issue. Muslim faithful lament and Emmanuel Ajayi visits the Kara market along Ibadan Expressway and farther this reports.
Muslims all over the world prepare to celebrate Eid al-Kabir with the slaughtering of ram to mark the celebration. However, buyers lament on the high cost of ram this year.
Actually, the sales of ram this year, I can say, is expensive compared to last year due to my own philosophy here. Because I've been here since around, let's say, 12. I've been buying.
I'm even saying, contemplating that I have to go and come back tomorrow. Tomorrow might be a bit easier. A lot, maybe it might not be so expensive. But the way it is, very, very expensive.
Now the Boko Haram now, because of the border, don't cancel the border. No go where they enter Nigeria. No so. The people where they come out outside, they buy ram come in Nigeria. Now we know they enter again.
This Muslim faithful speaks on the significance of the celebration, enjoying Muslims to extend love to their neighbors during and after the celebrations.
Ibrahim exemplifies a lot of virtues that we other Muslims are also following suit. One of the virtues is that Ibrahim is the father of faith, which is known as Abraham from the other faiths. Ibrahim also exhibited what we call patience and perseverance, because he waited for a long time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to answer his prayer for a righteous son.
As Muslim faithful celebrates, it is expected that Nigerians show brotherly love to everyone.
The incessant Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria is one of the reasons affecting the sale of rams as Muslims around the world celebrate Eid al-Kabir. From Lagos Market here in Kara, I am Emmanuel Ajayi reporting for CoreTV News.
Kwara State Government has disclosed that a microcredit intervention scheme launched in 2012 with a sum of 250 million naira has reached a cumulative of 1.2 billion naira, with about 50,000 business owners benefiting from the scheme. The technical advisor to the governor of Kwara State, Olusegun Suewu, says more artisans would benefit from the microcredit scheme of the state government. Also, the state government has set up a new entrepreneurial scheme tagged Kwara's Next Entrepreneur, which allows existing and new medium-scale enterprises to bid for establishment funds or expand existing businesses in the states. The World Bank has moved to alleviate the stress of Lagos farmers go through by helping them increase agricultural productivity and enhance market access. According to the State Project Coordinator, Commercial Agriculture Development, Kehinde Ogunyinka, during the ceremony of awarding certificate to participants of Women and Youth Empowerment Training Program. He said the World Bank will sponsor 55 persons to enable them start businesses in rice cultivation, poultry farming, and others. The World Bank will also offer technical expertise, bringing international best practices and involving stakeholders to renew agro-business development. To make this vision a reality, World Bank and state government are determined to improve this sector through cultivation, harvesting, packaging, logistics, and marketing. And now to the foreign scene, Burkina Faso's co-leader has agreed to abide by a deal reached with top African mediators. General Gilbert Diendere said his men do not want to fight, but however want that his men would defend themselves if attacked. The ex-spy chief, Diendere, while addressing journalists, said he's still in charge and that he's awaiting the outcome of the ECOWAS summit in Abuja, Nigeria, where African leaders are expected to be discussing development in Burkina Faso. Loyalist troops, however, told those behind the coup who derailed a democratic transition process to disarm and surrender by 10 a.m. or face attack. European Union interior ministers have reached a deal to share out 120,000 refugees across the EU bloc after holding an emergency meeting. The agreement was reached in Brussels today, despite fierce opposition from some central and eastern states that deepened rifts over Europe's worst refugee crisis since World War II. French Interior Minister Bernard Cazeneuve said the plan had been approved by a crushing majority, adding that the decision is testament to Europe's capacity in taking responsibility. Hungary, the Czech Republic, Romania and Slovakia all voted against the plan to share the intake of refugees, while Finland abstained. The deal mandates that countries in the EU take a share of thousands of new arrivals of refugees from the Middle East, Asia and Africa who are currently in frontline EU states like Greece and Italy. And now to the Middle East, a young Palestinian woman who was shot and wounded by Israeli troops after she reportedly attempted to stab a soldier at a checkpoint in the occupied West Bank has died. The woman, named as a 19-year-old university student, was injured at the checkpoint near the center of Hebron around 8:30 a.m. today. An Israeli army spokeswoman disclosed that the attacker attempted to stab a soldier, pointing out that the soldier then fired live ammunition at her. The army commander said clashes broke out between Palestinian youth and Israeli soldiers in the area following the shooting and is still ongoing across the city. The new leader of Afghanistan's Taliban insurgency has rejected peace talks with the government unless it revokes security paths with both the United States and NATO, and all foreign forces withdraw from the country. NATO's combat mission ended late last year, but Kabul signed separate deals with the United States and the foreign military coalition for them to be able to continue with a training and advice military mission in Afghanistan that comprises around 14,000 troops, mostly Americans. Mansour warned the foreign pressure would not help resolve the Afghan conflict, but would rather create other problems, as he did not name any country, but neighboring Pakistan, where members of the Taliban are allegedly sheltering, has in recent months stepped pressure on the insurgents to engage in peace talks with President Ashraf Ghani's National Unity Government in Kabul. And now to sports. Republicans Alessandro Del Piero has congratulated Roma veteran Francesco Totti after the forward scored his 300th goal for the club in Sunday's 2-2 draw with Sassuolo, as a Roma legend. Totti reached the milestone at the Stadio Olimpico, maintaining his record of scoring in every season with a cool finish following an error from Andrea Consigli. 36-year-old first scored for Roma in the 1994-1995 season, and Del Piero, former Italy teammate, appeared to have on Roma TV on Monday to congratulate the forward. Del Piero says it is a very special time for Totti and is happy to connect with him, and also says, having played for several clubs and captained different teams, he would not forget the scream he made after scoring a penalty against Australia in the 2006 World Cup, which the pair went on to win. And finally, in tennis, Andamara is set to miss this year's World Tour finals if, as expected, Belgium decide to host the Davis Cup final against Great Britain on clay, as the Flanders Expo Arena in Ghent will stage the tie if the Davis Cup committee gives its approval today. The Belgian Federation has 2 weeks to confirm its choice of surface, but has opted for clay in 4 of its last 6 home ties, and may conclude it is the surface most likely to inconvenience Murray. And Murray says the O2 would obviously be a question mark for him if he would be playing on the clay, and he also says he would go and train and prepare on the clay to get ready for the finals. And that's it on Primetime News, but before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. The Federation Account Allocation Committee has shared 442.606 billion naira among the 3 tiers of government for August 2015. Also, the Code of Conduct Tribunal has granted the Senate President Bukola Saraki bail and self-recognition. The Kwara State Police Command has arrested a middle-aged man accused of selling fake police recruitment forms. Thank you so very much for watching. I am Nena Nyama. Do have a lovely night rest.